Hi class, this video is a guide to online discussion. We'll be doing a lot of these in the course of the semester, so important to understand what expectations are for these assignments. Got a Halloween theme here. The purpose of online discussions is to think about our readings beyond the level of comprehension. That is, who does what, who says what. I'm going to go a little deeper than that. Share ideas with your classmates, and I'm going to help you do that. My directions typically start by introducing a concept or making some observation about the text, and then from there I give a series of prompts or questions to guide your post. Sometimes you have options to choose from. So I'll give you an example of a typical discussion assignment here on the left. This one happens to be about Christopher Marlowe. And the instructions begin with a little commentary on the poem that the students would be discussing. In this case, it's Marlowe's Hero and Leander. I talk a little bit about it. I introduce some terminology, gives the students some things to think about. And then a little later, I talk about what the expectations are for the post. And in this particular example, I put those instructions in boldface to make them stand out, and then told students that they would have some options to choose from. And then towards the bottom of the instructions in red, I don't always put it in red, but sometimes I do, the directions for the response. So what you would need to do, what you would need to write in response to a classmate's post. So most discussion assignments have the two components, a post and a response, and each will have its own separate due date. Very important for you to know that. Two due dates, the post and the response will each have their own due date. Usually you will not be able to see what your classmates have posted until after you've started your own discussion thread. Once you have posted, you typically have a day or two to read the other posts and respond to one of them. So here on the right, you see that in my instructions, I identify when the post is due and then when the response is due. So on D2L, this usually shows up as the second due date. I don't think I can put two due dates on this assignment. So you just need to know that the due dates that's listed is the due date for your response, not the due date for the post. So in this little clip, I show you what it kind of looks like. So you'll scroll down and then click Start a New Thread. And then in the subject line, I want you to type your name. Very important. Please type your name, your complete name, the name that's in my gradebook on the subject line. And then in the box below, you can type in your post. You can do it directly in the box as I'm doing there, or you can copy the text in from another document if you wish. Just don't paste any documents or upload any documents here. And then simply click post when you're ready. To write a successful post, make sure you've addressed the question completely. My prompts and questions, sometimes multiple questions, make sure you're very thorough in your post. A good post will incorporate specific details and citations from the text. Make sure to include parenthetical citations identifying the pages or line numbers of the text in your post. So here is an example of a successful post the student wrote about Long Day's Journey into Night. And you can read through it. You can pause the video if you'd like and read through it. And what I will point you to are these two sections right here where she includes two really good quotes from the play to support her points. So good posts will do that. As for the response, my expectation is that you will engage with the ideas presented by your classmates. This requires more than making perfunctory remarks like, I agree, or I didn't think of that. you need to do more than repeat or summarize what your classmates said in your own words or repeat what you wrote in your original post. The goal is to say something new about the material or to present an alternative to your classmates' perspective. Successful responses will incorporate new details and citations from the text. So in this example on the left, here's the original post, and then below it are the two responses. The post is okay. It's so-so. I mean, it did address the discussion question, but it doesn't incorporate anything from the book. There are no direct quotes in there, for example. So I thought it was thoughtful. It could have been better, but the responses, both of the responses, you can pause and read the original post at the top and then read these two responses. Neither of these responses really say anything new. They basically just repeat what the student wrote in her original post. So neither of these responses earned any points. They also don't incorporate any citations from the story that they're talking about. Here is a post that's a little more successful, a response that's a little more successful. The student didn't incorporate any quotations from the text, but I really liked this part that I highlighted, where the student identifies a point that they defer on from the original post. So you said this, and I think something a little different is going on, is what the student is saying here. So while not a successful post, it needs some improvement. It could benefit from some quotations. I think it's a good post, and this one did receive some credit. So let me talk about how I will assess your posts and responses. I do it all at once. I have one form that I use. This is the rubric for it. There are 4 criteria. The first one that you see at the top there, the post meets the basic assignment criteria. You followed directions. You answered the questions. You made a good attempt. The second criterion, thoughtful analysis supported by the text. Did you use specific examples? Did you incorporate quotations? Are they cited properly? The next one has to do with the response. Did the response engage thoughtfully with the student's classmates' post? Did the response incorporate citations from the text? And then the last criterion is syntax, spelling, and punctuation. Please don't get sloppy in your discussion posts. Sometimes I get them and I read them, they're really hard to read. So please treat them as you would a regular writing assignment. So those are the 4 criteria that I will use to assess your work on discussion assignments. If the criterion is met, you will get the maximum number of points. If it needs improvement, you will get partial points. In this case, that would be 1 out of 2 possible points. And if I mark the box on the right, unsatisfactory, you will get 0 points. So in this case, the example here, the student needs improvement on criteria 1 and 2. The criterion was met. Number 4, syntax, spelling, and punctuation, no issues there. But the third criterion, engages thoughtfully with classmates' post, received 0 points. That was unsatisfactory. So there's an example of how your work will be assessed. So some rules for discussion. You may start only one thread. If you post more than once, you will not earn credit for the assignment at all. So remember, you only start one thread. Similarly, you may respond to only one thread. And again, if you respond to more than one thread, you will not earn any credit for the assignment. So make sure that you respond to only one. And this is because if you do respond to more than one, you are taking opportunities away from other students in the class because of this rule. No post should ever receive more than 2 responses. If you are the 3rd or 4th respondent to a post, you will not receive credit for your response. You may still receive credit for your original post, but you will not receive credit for your response. So remember, if you see that a post has already received 2 responses, that means you need to choose a different post to respond to. Discussion posts and responses are covered by the Course AI policy. Please see it. It's in the course introduction module for more information. No warnings, no exceptions to these rules. And that concludes the guidelines for assignment discussion assignments.